Shawn Richards, opposition member of Parliament of the National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis, believes very challenging times are ahead for citizens and residents if the recommendations outlined in the IMF Article 4 concluding statement stemming from the 2025 mission to the Federation are implemented by the SKNLP-led federal government. Richards, the PAM parliamentary representative for constituency number 5, made the remarks during a recent program called PAM Perspective, hosted by Levon Keynes, the party's public relations officer. The PAM MP said the IMF recommendations to the government to harmonize the VAT under a tax reform program will bring about increases in the cost of living, as he gave examples.
The IMF is quite diplomatic in terms of the choice of words, the choice of terms. So if you're going to harmonize a VAT currently is at 17%. So if you're speaking about harmonization, basically the IMF is saying that everything should be at the same rate. So if we're going to look at the 17% rate, you have some goods and services which attract a VAT of less than 17%. For example, if you look at hotel and restaurants, for example, the VAT that is charged is 10%, and then I think there's an additional 2% levy, but they pay 10%. Rental income, businesses that are renting, for example, and who pay a VAT, I think it's just about 10% also for those, and I stand corrected, but I know it's less than 17%. So is it that the IMF is saying, no, put everything at 17%? The other thing which I have wondered about is we don't pay VAT on food, medical supplies, funeral expenses, educational supplies. Is it that you're recommending that we now pay a VAT on those because those are zero rated?
Yes.
So if you're looking at harmonization, then that you pay the same VAT amount on every single thing. Now, if you're a business and you are renting a building and you're paying VAT and the VAT is going to increase, what is that business going to do? It is going to increase the cost of the goods and services that it supplies. And if it increases the cost of the goods and services which are supplied, it means, therefore, that additional costs will be passed on to the consumers.
Similarly, Richards indicated that recommended assessment of property tax policy will also result in consumers having to pay more.
Updating property tax assessments. Just like you have wondered, what does that mean? If you're going to update property tax assessments, it means basically you're going out to get the current market value for the property. And upon getting the current market value, you're going to be assessed your property tax at that particular value. So again, for the regular man who out there paying a mortgage has finally been able to own a piece of the rock, again, you will be paying additional income. And so no matter how you slice it, basically, you will be affected if these recommendations are to go in place. The housing and social development levy could become more progressive. What are you saying in terms of that? Are you saying that in terms of persons who make more money should pay more in terms of the social housing and development levy? Are you saying to the minimum wage earners who do not pay the social housing and development levy that they too should also pay it? Because if you're saying it should become more progressive, it means that more and more people should be paying it, and that the more income you earn, the more you should pay in terms of the housing and social development levy. And we could get into an argument about that, because the persons who supposedly benefit from the housing and social development levy are not necessarily the ones depending on government for housing or even for these sort of social services.
The IMF statement also referred to the temporary reduction in VAT for the first 6 months as it called for the end of all COVID relief programs. According to Richards, the IMF report and its recommendations come in the context of the reduced revenue being earned from the Citizenship by Investment program and from the mismanagement of the country's financial resources. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.